A 35-year-old woman entered the car dealership, Meridian Luxury Motors, wearing simple jeans and a plain white t-shirt. Her modest appearance starkly contrasted the luxury of the displayed cars. Porsche, Bentley, Aston Martin, and Ferrari gleamed under perfectly adjusted lighting. Calmly, she moved between the expensive cars, examining every detail. Her gaze lingered on a sleek dark blue coupe displayed on the central podium. At the other end of the showroom, sales manager Ethan Parker adjusted his flawless blue tie. Noticing the casually dressed visitor, he exchanged knowing glances with his colleagues. Another dreamer, he thought. People like her have no idea how much of our time they waste. And I still haven't met my sales quota for 2 weeks. A young salesman named Griffin approached the woman, politely asking if he could help. But before she could answer, Ethan swiftly intervened. With a forced smile that didn't reach his eyes, he asked if she needed directions. When she calmly explained her interest in the dark blue coupe priced at $285,000, Ethan's smile widened. He spoke condescendingly, explaining it was a limited edition Indigo, with only 15 units made. Then he offered to guide her to the used car section 3 blocks away. The woman noticed his eyes scanning her outfit, pausing at her worn sneakers. Despite his obvious disrespect, she politely insisted on learning more about the car and seeing the interior. Ethan lied, claiming the Indigo was only available by appointment for serious buyers. Just then, a couple in designer clothes entered, and Ethan's demeanor instantly shifted. He left the woman to collect a brochure at reception and rushed to greet the new guests, Mr. and Mrs. Rivera. Griffin, apologetic, turned back to the woman, offering to explain the Indigo's features. As he enthusiastically described the car, she noticed Ethan leading the couple straight to the vehicle he'd claimed was appointment only. He ceremoniously opened the door, inviting Mrs. Rivera inside. I wonder how many people he's discouraged from buying based on looks, she thought, saddened. She reassured Griffin, saying she understood how things worked. Minutes later, she approached Ethan and the Riveras, reiterating her interest in the car. Ethan's face reddened with irritation. He reminded her the car was being shown to other clients and suggested she return another time or visit the used car section. When she calmly repeated her intent to buy it as a gift for her sister, Ethan pulled her aside, lowering his voice. He said he understood people liked to dream, but this was serious. These cars cost more than most houses. He even accused her of sabotaging a potential sale. Several customers paused to watch the escalating conflict. Griffin stood nearby, nervously observing. She remained calm, stating she was ready to pay in cash today. Ethan laughed harshly, echoing through the showroom. He sneered that this wasn't a flea market but a $250,000 car, and people who could afford such cars obviously wouldn't dress like her. Her cheeks flushed, not from embarrassment but rising anger. In a steady voice, she said her money was as good as anyone's. Ethan stepped closer, towering over her. Without hiding his disdain, he told her she was wasting his time and embarrassing herself, demanding she either book an appointment dressed appropriately or leave. Just then, the dealership owner, Donovan Preston, arrived, drawn by the scene. Ethan quickly explained he was merely informing her how they worked with serious clients. Preston sided with his manager, politely stating customers usually understood their exclusivity. Lorraine Harper, she introduced herself, adding she understood perfectly. The manager had made the rules very clear. Feeling validated, Ethan grew even more condescending. He told her if she was truly interested, she should call to book an appointment, but only if she could provide proof of funds and dress appropriately. These cars, he said, were for a certain class of people. A murmur spread through the crowd, someone even chuckling. Lorraine scanned the judging faces, Ethan's smugness, and the owner's silent approval. She'd faced prejudice before, but never so openly. I understand, was all she said. Maintaining her dignity, though her cheeks burned with humiliation, she turned to leave. Behind her, Ethan muttered just loud enough, "Some people don't know their place." Stepping into the sunlight, Lorraine pulled out her phone. The humiliation stung, but a small, determined smile appeared as she dialed a number. The next morning, Ethan confidently entered the dealership, adjusting his signature blue tie. The incident with the poorly dressed woman had become an amusing story he'd shared over drinks. Another dreamer thinking she belonged in the world of luxury. He'd just finished the morning meeting, stressing the importance of qualifying customers. Remember, our time is valuable. We serve a specific clientele. It's not elitism, it's efficiency, he told his team. Griffin stayed silent, visibly uncomfortable. At exactly 10:17 a.m., the distinct purr of an exceptional engine echoed outside. Through the showroom's massive windows, everyone saw a car unlike any other pull up at the entrance. Conversations halted. Even Ethan, usually indifferent to luxury cars, felt his pulse quicken. Outside stood a Rolls-Royce Phantom extended wheelbase, not just any Phantom, but a custom model with a unique dark blue paint that shifted in sunlight. Estimated value, over $1.2 million. Dealership owner Donovan Preston rushed out, drawn by the sudden silence. Ethan confirmed it was indeed an exclusive Phantom configuration and headed to the entrance, sensing a major sale. A chauffeur in immaculate uniform stepped out, opening the rear passenger door with practiced precision. Out stepped a tall, distinguished man in a perfectly tailored suit that signaled, to any trained eye, a five-figure price tag. His immaculate salt and pepper hair and confident posture exuded authority. Ethan's sales instincts kicked in immediately. Clients like this didn't just mean a single sale, they could bring long-term relationships worth millions. "Good morning, sir. Welcome to Meridian Luxury Motors," Ethan said, reaching him before the other salesman. "Ethan Parker, sales manager. It's truly an honor to have you with us today." The man studied Ethan with an unreadable expression before offering a polite smile that didn't reach his eyes. "Wesley Harper," he said simply, shaking Ethan's hand firmly. Ethan paused for a second. The name felt vaguely familiar, but he couldn't place it. Either way, the customer's Rolls-Royce spoke volumes. "Mr. Harper, the pleasure is mine. What brings you to our humble showroom today? Perhaps I can show you our latest arrivals." Wesley raised a hand slightly, cutting off the rehearsed pitch. "Actually, I'm here for a specific vehicle, the Indigo Coupe. Dark blue." Ethan's smile widened. "An excellent choice, sir. One of only 15 produced this year. I'd be delighted to show it to you." "I know where it is," Wesley said gently. "My wife was here yesterday. She expressed interest in it." Ethan's professional smile remained intact, though a flicker of confusion crossed his eyes. "Your wife? I don't recall. Perhaps one of my colleagues assisted her?" Wesley's expression shifted noticeably. "No, Mr. Parker. You assisted her, or rather dismissed her. Lorraine Harper. She was wearing jeans and a white t-shirt. You suggested she'd be better off looking at used cars." The blood drained from Ethan's face as realization struck. Behind him, Griffin, who had been standing nearby, let out a quiet gasp. "Mr. Harper, that must have been a misunderstanding. We welcome all customers here." By now, Donovan Preston had approached, sensing the shift in the air. "Is everything all right, Ethan?" Wesley turned his attention to the owner. "Mr. Preston, I presume?" "Donovan Preston?" "Yes, that's me. Welcome to Meridian Luxury Motors." "Thank you. I was just explaining to Mr. Parker that my wife was here yesterday to view the Indigo Coupe as a gift for her sister. Unfortunately, I was deeply disappointed by how she was treated." Preston's expression quickly shifted from welcoming to concerned. "I'm very sorry to hear that. I believe I briefly stepped into that conversation, but I wasn't aware of all the details." Wesley nodded thoughtfully. "To be precise, your sales manager implied that people like her don't belong in an establishment like this, simply because of her casual attire." By now, a small crowd had gathered nearby, salespeople, staff, and even a few early customers watching with curiosity. The showroom had fallen completely silent. Ethan began to speak but was unexpectedly cut off by Griffin. "Mrs. Harper was treated poorly," he said. "She was polite and clearly interested in the Indigo, but she was repeatedly dismissed because of how she looked." Ethan shot the young salesman a furious glare, but it was too late. Wesley turned back to Preston. "You know, it's interesting. My wife founded and runs the Harper Foundation for Disabled Children. That was her life's work even before we met. She's raised over $50 million for specialized medical equipment and education programs." He paused, letting the information sink in. "Lori dresses simply because she believes in living modestly despite our means. She feels it keeps her connected to the families she helps. That's one of the many reasons I love her." Donovan Preston had visibly paled. "Mr. Harper, I assure you this does not reflect our company's values." "Actions speak louder than mission statements, Mr. Preston," Wesley interjected firmly. "And as for the Indigo, I'm not just here about one car." At that, Ethan perked up slightly, a faint glimmer of hope piercing his despair. "I was planning to purchase the Indigo for my wife's sister, as Lori intended. But I've also been considering updating our corporate fleet, 7 vehicles in total. And my personal collection could use an upgrade as well." Preston's eyes widened. A deal of that size could meet their quarterly targets in a single day. "However," Wesley continued, I'm starting to question whether this is the right place for such a significant investment." The showroom was utterly silent. Ethan looked physically ill. "Mr. Harper," Preston began desperately, "words cannot express how sorry I am about this unfortunate incident. I assure you this is not how we normally conduct business. Please allow us to make this right." Wesley paused thoughtfully. "Then just selling me cars." "Anything," Preston promised quickly. "The Harper Foundation is hosting a charity gala next month to raise funds for a new sports complex for children with physical disabilities." He turned to Ethan. "I believe your presence would be educational." Ethan swallowed hard. "Not as a guest," Wesley clarified. "As a volunteer. The foundation always needs people to help with setup, assist the children, and see the work firsthand." The message was clear: this wasn't just about a sale, but a fundamental lesson in human values. "Additionally," Wesley continued, now addressing Preston, "your dealership might consider unconscious bias training. I know some excellent consultants." Donovan nodded vigorously. "Absolutely. We'd welcome such an initiative. As for the cars," Wesley said to Griffin, "I'd like you to handle the paperwork, starting with the Indigo for my sister-in-law." The young salesman's eyes widened. Thank you, sir. It would be an honor." "Good," Wesley said decisively. "Shall we discuss the corporate fleet details now?" As they walked toward the office, Wesley paused by the Indigo coupe, running his hand along its smooth contours. "My wife has excellent taste, doesn't she?" Behind them, Ethan Parker stood motionless. His perfectly ordered world had been turned upside down. A hard truth had finally sunk in. A person's character is measured not by how they treat those they deem important, but by how they treat those they consider insignificant. 1 month later, the Harper Foundation's charity gala transformed the Grand Boston Hotel into a celebration of possibilities. Children with various disabilities and their families mingled with donors, medical professionals, and foundation supporters. At the entrance, Ethan Parker, not in his usual sales suit but in event staff uniform, greeted guests and assisted a young boy in a wheelchair. The past month had profoundly changed him. His volunteer work had initially been an obligation, the price for professional survival. But something unexpected had happened. The daily challenges these children faced and the dignity with which they overcame them had transformed him. Lori Harper, elegant in a simple blue dress, approached. Though Ethan now knew who she really was, he was struck again by how completely unpretentious her demeanor remained. "How has this experience been for you, Ethan?" she asked. He considered the question seriously. "Humbling," he finally said. "And necessary." Lori nodded. "Thomas seems to have taken a liking to you," she remarked, nodding toward the boy in the wheelchair. "He's teaching me adaptive basketball," Ethan admitted. "Says my technique is terrible." This drew genuine laughter from Lori. "He's an honest coach." Ethan's expression turned serious. "Mrs. Harper, I know I've apologized formally, but I need to say it directly. I'm truly sorry for how I treated you. There's no excuse." "You're right, there isn't," she agreed without malice. "The question is, what have you learned?" "That value isn't determined by appearance, status, or possessions," he said thoughtfully. "And that every person deserves respect until they prove otherwise, not the reverse." Lori acknowledged these as good lessons. "And I assume they came at a price," she added. Ethan nodded with a trace of regret, thinking of the substantial lost revenue when Wesley Harper had decided to purchase only the Indigo rather than the entire planned fleet. "They're worth every penny," he answered sincerely. Across the room, Wesley joined them, resting a hand lightly on his wife's shoulder. "Ethan was just sharing some of his insights," Lori explained. Wesley nodded. "I hear you've become quite involved with the adaptive sports program." "Yes, sir. I've actually decided to continue volunteering even after my required time is complete." He paused, then added, "And Mr. Preston and I have been working to revise how we approach customers. We no longer judge by appearances." "That's good to hear," Wesley said, then added surprisingly, "which reminds me that corporate fleet I mentioned still needs updating. Perhaps you could handle it. Griffin speaks highly of your mentoring." Shock followed by genuine gratitude appeared on Ethan's face. "It would be my great honor, Mr. Harper." Later that evening, as the event wound down, Ethan watched Lori and Wesley Harper work the room, not displaying their wealth or influence, but engaging sincerely with every child and family. He reflected on how much his perspective had changed. Just a month ago, he would have dismissed someone like Lori Harper based solely on her casual appearance. Now he understood that true worth had nothing to do with designer labels, luxury cars, or management titles. As he lifted Thomas back into his wheelchair after photos, Ethan heard the boy's cheerful voice. "You know what, Mr. Ethan? For a grown-up, you're pretty cool." Ethan smiled. "Coming from you, Thomas, that's the best compliment I've had in a long time." And he meant it. We all judge by appearances, don't we? But as Ethan Parker discovered, when you look beneath the surface, you might find incredible people and life-changing opportunities. The true measure of wealth has nothing to do with your bank account. It's about how you treat others when you think no one important is watching. Perhaps there's a way forward, but it will take more than apologies.